The other nations don't even believe in Christ. They don't believe in Revelations 1:14 and 15. Now, a lot of Caucasians believe in Jesus, and there are other nations that believe in Jesus too. But you despise Revelations 1:14 and 15, Yahushua HaMashiach. You despise him. Now, did anybody know? Here it is right here. I'm about to bring us all to light. Did anybody know that the commandment 5 through 10 is equal to commandment 1 through 4? Well, some people will say, well, how? Because, see, there's really only two commandments. You have the first commandment, and you have the second commandment. These are the two decrees. There's two decrees. Love Elohim and love thy brother as yourself. Now, do you know that the second decree is equal to the first decree? Even though it's men and not God, it's equal. How do I know that? Because it says, this is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. It's equal. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments, on these two decrees, hang all the law of Moses and everything that the prophets said. Now, the Arab man and the Caucasian man, they follow commandments 5 through 10. They don't kill each other. They don't rob from each other. They don't take from each other. They don't covet one another. And they honor their mothers and their fathers for the most part. Yeah, you got your stragglers. They despise, most of them, not all of them. They despise Revelations 14 and 15, commandments 1 through 4. They hate it with a passion. But yet they still love thy brother as thyself. Now, you black folks, you don't even like commandments 5 through 10. And many of us actors, you say that you say that you're obedient to commandment 1 through 4, but you're a liar. See, a man that hateth his brother and a man that saith he follows the commandments, but hates his brother, is a liar, and there is no truth in him. Now, John 4:20. 1 John 4:20. 1 John chapter 4, verse 20. If anyone says, I love God, if anyone says, I love God, and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he does not love his brother whom he has seen. For he who does not love his brother who he can see, who he can witness, who he can see walking, who he can see talking, can't possibly love God whom he has not seen. If you treat your own brother wrong, no matter what nation you're from, this law applies to all mankind. If you catch a Chinaman breaking in another Chinaman's house, there will be repercussions from God for doing that. Even though they were not given the law of Moses, those commandments that Christ wrote with his finger, whether you followed them or whether you were given, and the commandment, let's not get it twisted. The commandments weren't given to the other nations either. Both the commandments and the law of Moses were only given to the Israelites. Let's not get that twisted. But if the other nations don't follow the commandments, there will be repercussions. You have two types of repercussions. If any man does not love his brother, listen, any man on the planet, if he does not love his brother, he does not follow commandments 5 through 10, he will face immediate repercussions here on earth. He will face, when I say immediate, I don't mean today or tomorrow or next week or even next year. I mean while living. Let me put it that way. Any man will face the repercussions while living, sooner or later, if they don't follow commandments 5 through 10 to love thy brother. And any man, if he doesn't follow the laws, the commandments 1 through 4, then he will burn in the lake of fire. Commandments 1 through 4 is dealing with all the commandments are dealing with the kingdom. But just like Christ told the rich boy, the young boy, he said, listen, man, I love my brother. I don't covet my brother. I don't commit adultery. I don't cheat on my wife. He said, I don't steal from my brother. He said, I've never murdered any of my brothers. But Christ said, what about me? Sell your stuff and follow me. So if the other nations choose not, they're not going to do it now. See, y'all got to show some wrath before people start getting on their knees. And it's coming. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. So see, if you all want to know why us Negroes as a whole, now like I said, you have individual Negroes who are truly blessed because they love their brother. But us as a nation, us as an entirety, we can't stand one another. We kill one another. We slander one another. We bear false witness one another. We lie to one another. We steal from one another. And we commit adultery. This is our problem. We all have an iniquity. Okay? So if you're stealing from another brother, if you a man out here and you got a good woman, leave the rest of them women alone. And if you're a lady out here, don't go defiling the bed with your, with some other man or whatever, whatnot. And if you see a brother with a nice car, you're like, oh, my cars are pieces of crap, so I don't care. I'm not worried about it. But, you see a man out here with a nice car, man, he's driving down the street in one of them big boy Benzes or something, man, or whatever, whatnot. Don't get mad at him. Don't try to hurt his car. Don't try to take his rims. Do for one another. Don't try to get over on one another. Don't try to outbid one another. Stop all unhealthy. Not competition can be healthy, but we shouldn't be competing with one another like that. Now, 1 John 4:12. 1 John 4:12. No one has ever seen God. If we love one another, God abides in us, and his love is perfected in us. No one has seen God. Don't say you love God. See, the other nations, they don't have to say they love God. They say they love their own God. But guess what? They do love their own God. And they prove it by loving one another. And I'm not saying, my man, going hugging everybody. See, love is an emotion when it comes to your children and your wife and your family. But it's also an action. It's not always, love is not weak. Love is not some type of emotional roller coaster where you're always sobbing and crying and hooting and crying and all that and sipping and sobbing and it's not weak. Love is an action. I'm not going to talk bad about that man. I'm not going to go up to that man's car and try to hurt it. And it's just a material thing, but I'm not going to go. I'm not looking at that man's wife. She look good, but it ain't my wife. It's his. So proceed. I'm not coveting that man's stuff. Watching that man's car, watching that man's house. Oh, he got a nice house. Watching that man, damn, he got them big sneaks on, them Jordans, $300 Jordans, and I'm not doing all that. Neither should you Negroes. Stop always competing. You always get mad if somebody talking about somebody else in a good way or something like that. And women, black women, you all are very wicked. You need to stop trying to keep up with the Joneses and stop saying, that man got this, that man got that. Now, it's okay to push your husband because that's a good thing. Push him so he can do better for the family, but don't have a wickedness in your heart, a malice intent to have him compete with some other man or something like that. Stop your wickedness. For all you wicked women out there, go watch the movie Chronicles of Riddick and watch the wicked woman who wanted the second in command to take the first in command's place. That's how many of you women are for your own, to make you feel good about your own man. If you got to have your man do all of that for you to feel good about him, then that's his problem. Maybe he needs to step up his manhood as a man, and you wouldn't even be worried about all of the other stuff. Men, stop letting your wife swindle you. Stop letting your girlfriend or your wife swindle you into competing with other men. If you're going to do something, do it for yourself. Don't do it to make her feel better. Do it because of your kids or because of whatever the case. But not because of her wickedness and her selfishness and her selfish ambition. Ecclesiasticus said in the land, I found 1 out of 1,000 men, but of women I found 0. 0 righteous women in the land. That means he didn't find not one. Which is the reason why we have the chain of command. Christ, man, and woman, because she needs guidance. Some of them are just too wicked. You can't guide them. Let them go. So, see, you can't say you love God if you don't love your brother. It's an impossibility. How you going to say you love somebody you never seen? Some of you hardly really even believe in them. And you don't love the man that you can see, that look just like you. The Arabs don't have that problem. Not at all. which is why it makes it look like there's a lot of righteousness happening in Islam. But the truth is, they're following the commandments automatically and naturally. That's why these other nations prosper. Not because of what they believe in, and not because of their way of life, but because automatically, subconsciously, they're showing the action of love toward one another. Same thing with the Indian man, the same thing with the Chinese man. Now, Caucasians, y'all slipping now because Babylon is getting to y'all. But y'all still are better than we are. Still better than us Negroes. And you Jamaican people, you Israelites, y'all need to stop being so damn wicked. Don't you know that some of y'all are from the tribe, but not every Jamaican is tribe of Benji. That chart bull crap is insanity. There are some even Haitians. You're all not Levi. Some of you are Judah. Just because you got an accent don't mean you're Benji. There's plenty of Jamaicans over there and over here. You don't know that they're so-called Jamaican. You won't know until they speak. The only difference between a Haitian, a Jamaican, and a Negro, so-called, is the boat where it stopped at during the transatlantic slave trade. That's it. That's it. You have different dialect. It doesn't mean you're from a different tribe, necessarily. So you never seen God. John 1:4-12 says, no one has ever seen God. Not us. Not us Negroes today. If we love one another, God abides in us. His love is perfected. So if you're from another nation and you show the action of love, because love is an emotion, but it's an action. It's both. It's only an emotion to an extent. But if I love my sons, I'm going to teach them the Torah. I'm going to teach them the commandments of Yah if I love them. So I have to show I love my sons. Now, let's finish this. Let's finish this, okay? So you Negroes want to know why the other nations are doing so well? Because they show the action of loving thy neighbor. Okay? They love their brother. Now, when did the kingdom, because it's not a prosperity speech anymore. See, go ahead, get rich, get your money, but just remember something. The time is coming very rapidly where you're going to need vaccines, you're going to need microchips, you're going to need all of these things. And if you don't have them, you're going to either join with the beast system or be a vagabond. What are you going to do? So everything that you worked for and everything that you strive for, no, that does not mean don't get up tomorrow and go to work. It does not mean if you have a trucking company, which is a very good idea. If you have a trucking company, it does not mean not to go and get in your truck and make your errands. That's not what it means. Go and carry about your life and continue to do what you have to do in order to survive. But do understand this, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And very soon, Satan was, you see, as I said before, the contractions are getting closer and closer. And Satan is working harder and harder. And he's suppressing the truth more and more. And it's getting closer and closer to that time where many of you Negroes, all of you Negroes are gonna that are gonna get put to the test on who you really love more, Yah or this world. And many of you in religion in the beginning, John chapter 1. Let's end it right here, shall we? John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life. Who's him? Christ. In Yahusha was life. And the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. See, this is what Christ, the problem that he had amongst all of you wicked ass Negroes. And his servants are going to have the same problem. The light is going to shine in the darkness, and you are not going to comprehend it. Many of you are going to despise it. We're going to skip down to verse 10. Christ was in the world, and the world was made by him. And the world knew him not. He came unto his own. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. And still to this day, you don't receive him. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of flesh, nor of any of you all's will, nor the will of man, but of God. So I don't operate under the will of men. I operate under the will of God. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. We're going to skip down to 17. John 1, verse 17. For the law of Moses was given by Moses, but grace and the truth, but favor, but mercy and truth came by Yahushua HaMashiach. No man hath seen God at any time, the only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. And this the record of John, when the Jews sent priests and Levites to Jerusalem to ask him, Who art thou? And he confessed and denied not, but confessed, I am not the Christ. That's what John said. And they asked him, what then? Art thou Elias? He said, you know what? That's not even important. Okay? $5,000 years ago, when Moses gave the prosperity speech, you all need to understand something very great. There was a lot of living to do. Now here in these times, there's not a lot of living to do. Now, I don't tell the future. I'm not capable of doing that. The prophets of old have already done that, and John the Revelator. That's what their job was. It's not my job. I can't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow, the day after, next week, next month, next year, or 2 years from now. But what I can say is we're getting closer and closer and closer to the wrath of God. Now, I want to say one more thing and then I'm out of here. Okay? One more thing and I'm out of here.
Well, I don't know if we all agree, but I think certainly most Americans agree on those subjects. I want to show you my favorite painting in the book. I think they all know about Americans. Okay, yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. That is a really...
I want y'all to pay attention to this.
Has she seen this?
Because I didn't have this written down.
Thank you. If you like it, I might paint you. Oh, I would love that.
Now I want everybody that's listening to this message, I want you to listen very carefully. Revelations 12 and 9. Revelations 12 and 9. And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent who was called the devil and the adversary, the deceiver of the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown with him. Satan is the deceiver of the whole world. And I believe there was a scripture here that says he deceived all the nations. Well, this is the ESV.
This is, I think this one kind of looks like you. This kind of looks a little bit like you. Shalini, yeah, he's from Lebanon. Grew up listening to bullets flying over his head and everything. Came here to get an high school education. Is now a huge restaurant owner. I think he told me he employs about 3,000 people. And so the key thing on some of these stories in here, the people come with a dream, they work hard, and they end up employing America.
I need y'all to know something, man. Satan deceived all the nations. He's deceiving everybody. Okay? And the spirit of Esau, who is in control of this world now. For Esau is the end, is the beginning. And Jacob is the end to come. So, Satan is working with the spirit of Esau. Okay? These are the people who are in power. Okay? The false prophets and those who are the elite who are in control, the 1%. So, got to understand something. Satan is deceiving everybody except the elect, except those who have the mark on them, on their forehead, those who trust Yahushua HaMashiach. We the only ones that ain't fooled. All the rest of y'all, even some of y'all in the truth, y'all not fooled with this, but y'all fooled with that. You know? So, just letting y'all know that right now. You're going to see more and more and more of these things, these atrocities happen until the full development of the trouble of black folk.